Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. My name is David Hodge, active NGO warrior, representing Master Suleiman, the messenger of the covenant, the breaker of the seven seals. This is wartime. Today my topic is Laodicea of the seven churches. We're going to focus on what Suleiman is saying. Before we start, I'd like to remind my people about the Holocaust. The Holocaust. This is the black man and woman of America's true experience, but they whitewash it and call it slavery. A lot of people might ask, what's the problem with calling our experience slavery? You see, that's what we went through, right? So what's wrong with that? Well, see, they're not being honest with you, brothers and sisters. Slavery wasn't all that we went through. That was just the 1%, which was the economic side. It was maximum profit, minimum overhead, meaning we were given the bare minimum, given the scraps, just enough to survive. But that wasn't our whole experience, brothers and sisters, because they do a great job of leaving out the other 99%, which is what you see right in front of you, brothers and sisters. These illustrations, these photos right here. Slavery doesn't entail this part. It leaves out the horror that we endured. Our suffering, our physical torment, us being physically tormented and tortured, raped, murdered. You see, they leave that part out. So that's why the word slavery isn't a good definition or expression of our true experience, because it does not cover our affliction. It leaves out our torment. It leaves out us being tormented. It doesn't cover that. Anywhere in the definition of slavery, it doesn't tell you about our physical treatment. You see? So if you believe in the narrative that these devils paint for you, then you will believe that your experience was only slavery, and it was not, brothers and sisters. You believe that you were just a slave. You see? No good, wicked. That's what they tell you, right? And you were given a second chance at life by the hands of your enemy. See? Being brought here to this great land that we know is not great. You see? Given a second chance in this corporation that practice owning slaves, owning black slaves, who were expected to work tirelessly, enduring exhausting labor and being restricted freedom, being owned legally by these Caucasian people by law, being enslaved, held, and owned as human chattel and property of the United States of America, in bondage, being held, being captured as uncivilized savages and taken to the nation that's blessed by God Himself to give us an opportunity that God Himself wouldn't give us, according to these devils. You see? So these people legally own you and you're under their control here. You see, forced to obey them, to obey their every command. You see, you're forced to work and obey their every command. You're forced into servitude with little as pay, given the bare minimum in the form that they choose. And no matter how exhausting you were, no matter how exhausting it is, no matter how exhausted you were, you see, how tired, how sleepy, how weak you felt, no matter how sick you was, you see, you were forbidden to quit your service. But this is not all that you went through, brothers and sisters, but this is what they're telling you. This is what they're saying that 100% of your experience was, which was just slavery. You see, which is to dumb down your experience, to keep you under control, to keep you from finding out the truth. You see, to keep you programmed, prevent you from thinking, keep you from connecting yourself to the people enslaved and afflicted in the Bible. You see, to keep you from finding out your true vision, the Abrahamic covenant. You see, which is why they're under judgment, which is why they're being judged as we speak, brothers and sisters, due to what they did to us during the Holocaust. You see, because they're paying for what they've done. They're under judgment, and they're trying to escape by not telling you, by trying to deny it, by trying to deny that they did these things to us. You see, by trying to make it seem as if it was a theory, calling your experience critical race theory, insulting you, you see, disrespecting you, telling you that what happened to you here, this is what happened. These things happen to you. These things truly happen to you. Factual things that happen to you, and they're dismissing it by calling your experience a theory. But brothers and sisters, there was nothing theoretical about what happened to us here. These people truly raped and murdered us, committed genocide on us. You see? We're trying to completely annihilate us. They oppressed us, still being oppressed. You see? Deceived us, tormented, tortured, abused us, beat us, whipped us, fed us like pigs in pig troughs, bare hands, fed us shit. You see? Treat us like animals, turned us into animals, had us in cages, zoo-like settings, scuffing shit down our mouths. You see? Stripped us of all knowledge, programmed us, indoctrinated us, institutionalized us, made us into human robots, Negro bots. You see? Using us in any way that they see, that they seem fit for themselves, exploiting us, experimenting on us, sodomizing, castrating us, disemboweling us. You see? It's deeper than slavery. These people dismantled us, hung us, starved us, cut us open, peeled us alive, gutted us, cooked us alive, brothers and sisters, burnt us up. See, making us unrecognizable, using our skin and hair to make puppets and material objects, feeding our children to gators, slicing open our women's bellies and stomping out the unborn baby, which was 9 times out of 10 was Mass's baby. You see, because he had dibs on our women. He didn't even allow us to sleep with them. They separated us from the women. We weren't allowed to reproduce because they were trying to wipe us out. That's the agenda. That was their agenda. Still is their agenda to wipe us out. But they were trying to wipe us out. But the black woman went behind Mass's back. You see? She snuck around to make sure we were still here. You see? She risked her life and her children's life to make sure we were still here. So we went through all these things, and they're telling you that your experience was a theory. That all these things I'm telling you was a theory. There was nothing theoretical about them raping. They raped us. They raped all of us. And they forced our women to carry their seed. Massive black-faced children that we're plagued by today. See? Because the Father carries the seed. So he impregnated our women with his seed. Creating demons, half devil, half man, wolves in sheep clothing who look like me and you, but they're not us. They have the mind of their devil fathers, tar babies, Oreos, black on the outside, white on the inside. So they skin folk, but they ain't kin folk, brothers and sisters. You see? So these people that did a number on us, and they're over here telling you that what was done to you was a theory. That's insane. That's the type of stuff we dealing with. You see, them lying to you, them keeping you unaware of the danger that you're in, them keeping you calm, keeping you within the programming, all to destroy you, to keep you in self-destruct mode, to keep you pushing a vision that's against you, that's destroying you. You understand that these people aren't of you, they're not you, their ways are contrary from yours, meaning that you're in self-destruct mode. Anything that's contrary to you is destructive to you. You see, they wouldn't be caught dead doing what we do because it'd be destructive to them. So they're going to always resort to what's best for them in their nature and force their nature on us, because two natures can't coexist in the same environment. One's going to overpower the other. And who's winning that? Obviously, we're not at this moment. That's why we must separate from these people, brothers and sisters, because we'll never win that here. We don't want anything here, no how. We don't want these things. That's Master's children. See, because they got the mind of him. They're pushing his agenda and forcing it on us because they look like us. But we don't want America. We don't want equality in America. We don't want all these things that these people, these demons are pushing for. Black Lives Matters and all their movements. We don't care to be here in America to change the fabric of America to suit us so we can stay here and hold hands with the enemy. We want to separate. We want to get away from these people, these monsters who tormented and tortured us 24/7, 365. You see, relentlessly, non-stop, no intentions to stop. You see, no mercy, no remorse for us, no celebrations, no holidays, no birthdays. These people were committing hateful things that me and you couldn't even imagine. These things that I'm explaining to you is light compared to what they did. I can't paint that vivid picture for you, what they did to us. You would have to be a sick person, twisted in the mind, evil, just like them, to even fathom, to even get that picture that I'm trying to paint. You have to get it from them. You see? But they're not going to come out and tell you these things, that they molested our children, raped our children. They're not going to tell you that. They terrorized us from the womb to the grave. They're not going to tell you all these things. They're going to tell you nothing. You see, because they're trying to escape judgment. They're trying to get away with what they did. But they're guilty as charged. Ain't no way around this. They can't escape judgment. You see? And they found that out when the plague came in. When COVID-19 came in. It came in right on time because it wasn't affecting us. It was affecting them. You see? Because the plague was for them. It came in right on time. 1619, 2019. 400 years. Said the plague would come, kill the firstborn, meaning the elderly, but pass over us, the black man and woman of America. You see, those with the lamb's blood. The lamb is original, so you have to be original like him. So they're not original. It wasn't passing over them. Neither the people that's impersonating to be us, false Israel. You see, it's supposed to pass over them too, right? They were dying as well. See? So these devils' their time is up. And they're trying to escape from their destruction. They're trying to outlive the time. They're trying to become immortal. They're trying to live forever. They're trying to live past the period that they were created for, which was just to sustain society until the energy started to return, until the energy deprivation period was over, which is it's over. They only created for a 6,000 year period, which is over. But they want a extension. They want to live forever. You see? They want to get rid of us and be like us. Meaning they want to live forever without you. That's the end game. That's the end game, brothers and sisters. They don't want you alive. They don't want you around. You understand? But they're in the judgment for what they did to us. And it's clear. All these things that's going on in America, all these things that's taking place in America, is evidence that they're being crushed, that they're in the judgment, that the reality is crumbling. You see? In these wars that they're in, it seems like things are getting it's getting much worse for them every day. They're not having any success. That's part of their consequence. And they're headed into a time that's going to be worse than what they did to us. Due to our treatment, due to what they did to us, they're headed in time worse than what they did to us. Because you have to understand, that's our reality, consequence. You reap what you sow. You see? So they're getting back what's due to them. That's what it said. That they'll get back what's due to them. It's going to be worse. It's only going to be worse because it's going to be squeezed into 1 year, brothers and sisters. That's what the NGO has revealed to us. That it's going to be squeezed into 1 year. That's why it's worse, because it's going to be intense. So everything they did to us for nearly 500 years, it's going to be done to them into compressed into 1 year. You see? That's what's going to happen to them, brothers and sisters. It's going to be compressed into 1 year. They get a double serving. So they didn't escape anything. They didn't get away with nothing, brothers and sisters. It's impossible. No one gets away with anything. No one gets away with consequence. You can't escape mathematics. So they're guilty. And there's no escape from this consequence that's headed their way. So let's get started, brothers and sisters. The 7 churches. Laodicea. Okay. So we're going to focus on what Suleiman is saying today, brothers and sisters. We usually go through and we'll run down what Suleiman says, what Master Fard Muhammad is saying, and what Obama is saying. But today we're going to focus on what Suleiman is saying to Laodicea. And you have to remember, he's talking to the nation that's within that nation. You see? So, as you remember, Africa was inside that nation. Okay, so before we start, I'll remind you of your 7 churches. If you need a refresher, the top 2 is the original part of each nation, which is the Muslim part, the Islamic part, meaning that they're original. They have original black fathers. It's the fraternal part. The original on the fraternal part, under the fraternal part. So at the top you have Pergama and Smyrna, which is Syria and Iran. Then underneath them and then underneath them is all devils. See, they're not original. So you have Philadelphia, Thyatira, Ephesus, which is America, false Israel, and Britain. And underneath them, you have the European nations. Well, they are European nations. But then you have Sardis, Laodicea, which is Eastern Europe, which is Russia. And you have Western Europe, which is EU, European Union. So that's the 7 churches, brothers and sisters, which are actual places. You see, so it's not actual 7 churches like they try to get you to believe. You see, this is Injil language. The Bible was written under a veil, and it can only be the seals could only be broken by one, which has been done. So Master Suleiman has done that, and he has given us the ability to see these things. So if you haven't gotten it through him, then you don't know. So you shouldn't be talking. All right, so that's your 7 churches, brothers and sisters. And Laodicea is where we're going to focus on today, at the bottom right corner, which is EU, European Union. And within that nation, you have the African nations, which would be, they identify themselels. They're usually the ones on the key that's the red. They're all red. And there's a lion in the middle, which is the African nations. So here, that's just a quick reminder at the top of how to identify who's saying what again. If you need a quick reminder. So the ears you got the ears at the top, the hand, the works is in the middle, and the butt is at the bottom. And the butt is important for what we're going to cover today. So it's going to be important because we're going to be talking about the New Jerusalem, which is the Ark, which is us getting out of here and going home, headed to our new reality. And the verse is going to cover that section where the butt is, because the butt is also where the throne is. So that's important. So keep that in mind, brothers and sisters. So you have the nation. Okay, back to Laodicea at the bottom right here. Within that nation, there's Africa, which is they're colonized. They colonized Africa, and we spoke about that, which is when a country or its members of that nation send a group of settlers to a place and establish political control over it. So that's what they done. That's what they did do. They're not under that now. So, however, all right, brothers, so we're going to get into the verse. Okay, so there you have it. And this is what Suleiman is saying to them. So this is our focus points. So remember that he's speaking to the nation within the nation. So he's speaking to the African nations. Laodicea is just one of the 7 churches, but he's talking to that nation inside of that church, which is the African nations. So here you go, brothers and sisters. And so it says, to the one conquering. And and when it says to the one conquering, now I know we spoke about the conquering and the conquered being Suleiman. You see, because Suleiman has conquered the Injil, and he's still conquering other parts of the Bible, because he's conquered it, which is Revelations. He's conquered that completely, and he's still conquering because, the Bible. There's books. There's a lot of books in the Bible, You see other, right, there's other chapters, or there's books within it. You see, there's more books. So he's conquered Revelations, the Injil, the gospel, you see, and he's still conquering more of the Bible, the entire thing. So it's a big Bible. So he's the conquering, and he's conquered, and he's still conquering. But you can also identify those that are with him as the conquering, meaning those that are here, those that are with him, that are in the African nations, are the conquerors, are conquering, meaning they're learning the Injil. So he says to the one conquering, see? To the one conquering, meaning they haven't conquered yet. I mean that they're learning. They're learning the Injil. They're learning these things. You see? I shall give to him. See? This is Suleiman talking to the African nation. Talking to the ones learning in the African nation. I shall give to him to sit down with me in the throne of me. Also I conquered, he's speaking about himself, Suleiman, and I sat down with the Father of me in the throne of him. See? The one having ear, which is at the top of the African nations, let him hear what the Spirit is saying to the ecclesias. All right. So, right. So you see, he's speaking to the African nations. He's saying, let the one with the ear, the ones who have ears, the ears at the top, like we explained, he's talking to he's talking to the Islamic part of that group, which is the elect. You see? So he's speaking to the African nations, the ones conquering. He's speaking to those individuals who are learning the Injil, which they're all learning the Injil. You see? So he's speaking to the elect in the Levite tribe, those who are learning from the tribe of Shabazz and the tribe of Levi. He's talking to those individuals, which we'll get into. Okay, brothers and sisters. So this is the verse we're focusing on, and as I reminded you, the throne. You have usually you have the top part, middle part, and the bottom part. The bottom part is where the throne is, where the butt is. So this is we're gonna make this visible for you to see using the Injil key, brothers and sisters. We're gonna bring it to life. Okay, so just focus on where Suleiman is. Suleiman is the son. So that's where he's placed at the top with the elect. You see? The top part is the golden part of each nation. That's where he's at. He's with the golden part, with the elect, with the true seed Abraham at the top. So it says, now let's remember, the throne is at the bottom. So don't pay attention to where it says Arabs and saints right now, because we're going to focus where it says the throne of me. And remember, it's only the throne of me. There's an ear, a hand, and a butt, which is where the throne is. That whole thing is a throne. You see, those three places. That whole thing together is a throne. So it says, the one conquering I shall give. The one conquering, which is, remember we explained that Suleiman is talking to the African nations, the ones conquering. You see, to the one conquering, I shall give to him to sit down with me. To sit down with me. So Suleiman's at the top. He's telling them that I shall give to him to sit down with me in the throne of me. So we know that the throne is at the bottom, brothers and sisters. So if he's talking to the African nations, which is the ones in the red, they're at the bottom part in the throne of him. They're sitting in the throne position. You see? So that's what it's saying to you, brothers and sisters. Just in your language. You can't. That's why I say you don't. These people can't tell you possibly what these things mean because they don't have a clue. You have to have the NGO key to understand what these things mean, because you can't. You just be making up things because certain stuff don't mean what you think it do. It's in your language. See? So it says, sit down with me in the throne of me. So that means that's where they was going to be at. Sitting down with him in the throne of me. In that position. They're at the bottom position. In the throne position. And then it says, as also I conquered, which is Suleiman, and him. Now this is what he's saying. Now I sit down with the Father of me. Now, you have to understand that Suleiman is the son, and the father of him is the Almighty God. You see? You have the father of him. To see, Suleiman's a son. That's what Suleiman stands for. Son of man. Son of God. You see? And the father of him would be the Almighty God of our time. That would be his you see, that would be his spiritual father, because he's the Almighty God of our time. He's the one in control. So that's what it now is saying, that Suleiman, I will sit down with the Father of me. You see? In the throne of him. Now, let's pay attention to where Master Farad Muhammad is, brothers and sisters. Just like how Suleiman, where you see where Suleiman was at, he had his throne. And now, just don't pay attention to the top part where the elect is. Just pay attention to where it says Iran and Syria, where Master Farad Muhammad is. And if you pay attention, you have, just like we just explained, where Master Farad Muhammad is, Iran and Syria, you have the ear. You have the hands, which is the works, and underneath them, underneath them, you have the butt, where the throne sits. So that's where the throne sits, underneath the Arabs and the saints. So that's the throne of him. So that's what it's saying, brothers and sisters. That's NGO language. You can't see these things without the NGO key. So he said, I sit down with the Father of me in the throne of him. So, yep, there you have it, brothers and sisters. Some things, I know you want to, right, and this is, this right here is, I don't know if I explained that. This is showing the ark. This is showing the New Jerusalem. This is showing once we depart. This is showing everybody that's coming to the new reality, the promised land. This is when we go back home, brothers and sisters. This is what this is showing. Those who made it out. Those who made it out of the destruction. Those who made it into the new reality. Those who could handle coming to the new reality. Those who made it, who didn't get stuck in the gravitational vortex of this world's life, who invested into their vision, you see, who sacrificed to be in the position to be in the promised land, meaning that they gave up this world's life to invest in their life, to save their life, you see, invest in their vision, investing in the NGO, invested in our vision, which is the Abrahamic covenant, brothers and sisters, which is to go home, is to get out of here. You see? So, These are the individuals that make it out of here on the ark. This is the New Jerusalem, our new reality, brothers and sisters. So this is just what this is what that verse is saying. We just want to. This is us bringing it to life for you, showing you what these things mean, showing you the proof of what these things mean. People talk a lot. They can't prove what they're saying. They can't. How do you know what they're saying is true if they can't prove it to you, brothers and sisters? Just say, prove it. And sometimes, well, every time, either they can prove it or they can't. And if they can't, then they liars. You see? So if you can't prove what you're saying, then you shouldn't be saying it. So this is giving you that further. This is giving you confirmation, furthering your faith. You see? Giving you the ability to see what they said was invisible. This is just showing you our new reality, showing you where we're headed to. You see? Showing you from the Injil Key's perspective, showing you the unsealed version of what this scripture is saying to you, brothers and sisters. This is our mind. You see? This is how we think. This is our communication. No one can understand but us. That's why they had this Bible for 2,000 years. They couldn't understand nothing that was in it. They couldn't understand it from the spatial perspective. They only could read it for what it said verbatim. And they try to make things, some things don't make sense verbatim because it was written under a veil. It was sealed. And only Suleiman could break those seals. You see? Because a lot of people, I get a lot of people, they say, well, that man made that. Man did this. Man made that. I'm not listening to that because man did that. What did man not do? You see, what did we not do? See, that's part of our programming. They taught you to believe that a spirit created everything. And then they taught you to say man did this, man did that. But you're trying to identify a certain individual because you know that we're not in control. So what man made who? You're trying to say that the Caucasian man made the Bible. That's not true. That's not true, brothers and sisters. See, that's why you have to have thorough knowledge of self. You have to understand that the devil can't create the Bible. How the devil gonna create something that he wasn't even around to create? You see, because these things, books, and all those things, guidance, our guidance for the time that we're headed. You see, every time we're headed to a new time, we have a new book. But books are prepared every 25,000 years. It takes preparation to get these books out. You have to remember that the devil he's only been alive. He's only been around for 6,000 years. So where did he come from making a book to give you? You see? Once you have the truth, you can dispute things that people say. So the devil couldn't have made that book. And then if he made it, he would have took out, if he made it and understood it, he would have got rid of the whole book because the book is against him. The end plan is against him. It's telling you about the wrath of God. It's telling you about the destruction of him. So he would have, if he wrote that, why would he be pushing it? Because, if he wrote it, he would push it. It'd be for him. But he didn't write it. It was against him. You see? But if he could understand it, he would have got rid of it. Because it's all against him. The whole thing is against him. Once you unseal it, once it's revealed, it's destroying him. See? So when you say man, you speak about the Caucasian man. He didn't create the Bible. He couldn't have did it. He wouldn't even he wouldn't allowed to do it. You see? And he's had his hand on it for 2,000 years. And he still hasn't had the ability to figure out what it was saying. Because if he did, he would have destroyed it all. He would have got rid of everything. He got rid of all the Bibles, all the books. He got rid of. He would have been trying to bring in his reality much faster. You see, because the end result is his judgment, is his ending, his death. He's destined for death. Well, that's what they say, destined. Ain't no such thing as destiny. It's just due to his consequence. That's what he did. He did this to himself. These Caucasian people did these. They put themselves in this position. They didn't have to go out like this. You see? They had a choice. They exceeded the limits. They were told not to do certain things, and they did exactly the opposite of what they were told to do. That's why they're under judgment, brothers and sisters, due to their actions. And everyone has a choice. You have a choice. You're building the stair step to your future, and this is what they built for themselves. Their destruction. You see? They were told not to touch us. They were told not to kill us. They were told not to do all these things to us, and they did exactly the opposite. So that's why they're going through all these things they're going through now. That's why they're not having any success now. That's why you see them being pulled apart. Their reality is being pulled apart. They have their foot in all these wars. You see? There's destruction all around them. You see? It's evidence. There's evidence all around you, brothers and sisters, showing you that their time's up, that they're under judgment, that this reality is coming to an end, that America's about to be over with. So there's no need to invest here anymore, brothers and sisters. You want to get in this ark. You want to get on this ark. This is the ark. This is what you should be focusing on. You putting all your energy that you have left after you take care of your business. You gotta take care of your business. You gotta take care of yourself. You gotta take care of your family. You gotta do what you have to do. But the energy you have left, the excess energy, it's not much. But you invested into your vision to getting out of here. You see? You have to turn that excess energy that you have into power. You see? By studying the NGO, by applying the 5 mathematical pillars of Islam, heading to the right direction, getting on this arc here, because this is your only way out. If you don't make it out of it, if you don't make it out of here on this arc, then you're destined for destruction. You see? And not to mention the arc. Just a quick thing I want to remind you that the bottom half doesn't come to after they go through the tribulations. You see, because they failed. The saints, which is the NOI, they failed their mission. So they had to go back. They had to go through the tribulations when Master Muhammad came and snatched. Well, he don't snatch nobody up. When he came and delivered us right before the tribulations, you see the saints, they're not with us, and the Arabs are not with us at that moment either, because these things happen after the tribulations. But you have the Arabs, which is Ishmael, who betrayed us into the Holocaust, slavery, all those things. You see, you have the ones, our half brother Ishmael, the one who betrayed us. See, we're gonna go back and get our land. See, then you have those who repent. You see, those who turn from their ways, who are asking for, who turn from their ways and they accepted the truth that what they did was wrong, and they accepted the truth that we were the inheritors. You see, that we were the ones to run the kingdom, that we would get a throne of power. So, see, they were spared, but they would be servants. You see, the Levites, the NOI. You see, so when they make it out of the tribulations, they come up, they make it back, they make it to the promised land. And the ones, and the Arabs who repent, see, everyone at the bottom are gonna be servants. in the hereafter. So you see, so everyone that's underneath one another are going to be assistants. So you have Suleiman at the top, he's the elect. And you have Master Prophet Muhammad, the God of our time, and the Shia, Iran and Syria. See, they work hand in hand with Suleiman and the elect. And then is underneath that you have Master Suleiman. You have Master Prophet Muhammad. Then you have the Levite tribe. You have the 3 Levite prophets. You have Elijah, Isa, and Muhammad. They're going to be running Africa, and they're going to work hand in hand with Master Prophet Muhammad and the Shia. You see, and then underneath them, you have where they are, where Isa, Elijah, and Muhammad. Underneath them, they're going to be working with the Arabs and the saints. They're going to be working together, but they're going to be servants. You see, do to what they did. You see, that's the position they're going to be at in the kingdom. They're going to be in the lowest part of the kingdom as servants. So that's another thing to keep in mind. You see, brothers and sisters, you pay for what you've done. And in the hereafter, there's going to be positions due to what the decisions you made. You're going to be in a position due to the decision you made. So it's going to be a position of everlasting life and everlasting shame and appallment. See, those who got everlasting life, you see, you save your life. And those who the everlasting shame and appallment is those who make it out. Those who make it out of the tribulations. Those who betrayed us. You see, now you're a servant. But you made it out. But now you forever have to be everyone knows that you're a traitor. You see? Everybody knows. You see, your kids, they'll all be known as traitors due to what the decision you made. They had a tattoo written on their heads that they were the child of a traitor. You see, everlasting shame of appallment. I mean, you see, so if they're allowed to come out to the kingdom, they'll have a tattoo mark on their head showing that they were sons of traitor. They were sons and daughters of a traitor. You see, so these are decisions that you have to make. These are decisions that they have that you're creating your own condition. You see, so you put yourself in these positions, brothers and sisters. It's up to you to do whatever you want to do. But we're going home. So either you're going home on the first route or you're going through the single route, meaning you're going the long way. You're going the hard way. You see, you're going through all these trials and tribulations. Or you can get on the first ride, the coach ride, get out of here, go home, you see? Or you come back, you see? And have to go through all these things that's about to be worse than the Holocaust. Then you have to come back. You see? Like I said, there's a lot of people who are not going to be aware because it's people blocking the message. So they're gonna come back and they're gonna have everlasting life, if you see, because they were innocent in the mind frame of not knowing, and they got the information during the tribulations and had to become 100%, had to get purified to come home. They had to be in the right mind. They got the information needed to go home, and now they're blessed when they get home because they didn't have any knowledge. They didn't have the knowledge. They got the knowledge during the tribulations because it was people blocking the message. But then you got the people that's in the tribulations who did have the knowledge to give them. You see, now that's the ever shame and appallment. Those are people you're gonna have to pay for that. You see, there's no forgiveness for what you did, but you still have to go back and make it right to save the people that you supposed to save when you was here because you failed your mission. You see. So decisions, brothers and sisters, you have to make the wise decision for yourself. What position you want to be in? You want to suffer the same consequence as your enemy? You want to stay here in a place that's about to be engulfed in flames? You want to invest in a vision that's about to be destroyed? You see? Because you can't do both. You can't invest in this world's life and get the hereafter. That's not how it works. You have to invest in one. You can't serve two masters. You see? So you can't serve Satan and serve Allah at the same time. You can't drink from both cups. You have to choose one or the other. You have to invest in one and sacrifice the other. So that's just what it is, brothers and sisters. So that's what Suleiman was saying. That's what Suleiman was saying to the African nations in Laodicea, brothers and sisters. Feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. If you didn't understand something, we can run it back through. I can show you from a different perspective. That's probably easier for you to understand if you didn't get it. So if you have any questions and concerns, just feel free to reach out. So with that said, thank you for listening to me today. Assalamu alaikum.